Hi, how you doing? Well, it's Friday I don't know, it's Friday, the 20-something, 24th, 25th, 26th, something like that. Anyway, it's Friday. And dropped this out of the truck yesterday. And then after the wife got home last night, I came out here and tore it down. And all the way to the tail shaft, took everything apart. And the only thing I found wrong on the center support was one of these steel rings. There's three of them, I believe. 3 or 4. I don't remember now. I think there might be 4. 4 of these rings, these steel rings, ceiling rings on the center support. And the very top one, or the one the furthest to the end of the center support, was broken. Here's what I'm talking about. See if you can pick this up. These ceiling rings, you notice they have like a little hook so that you can clip them together like that, and they kind of do this, right? Well, the very first one, the little hook tangs broken off. And what happened was when I put the Ford clutch, or I think it's called the Ford clutch. I don't have the exploded view right ahead of me, but there's a clutch pack that goes on that center support bearing. Their center support, it slides over all those ceiling rings. And I think when I pushed that, because this was not hooked, when I pushed that on there, it came out of the groove, and this is where it was just where the internal leak was. We'll see. And like I said before, if this doesn't work and this doesn't fix the problem, I'm gonna put a 700 R4 in this thing. I'm not gonna spend $1,000 on a reman turbo 400. Just not gonna do it. But anyway, I got and the other thing last night, I think I might have lost a couple of check balls when I dropped the. Let me get rid of these and stop messing with them. Yay. I think I lost a couple of check balls when I dropped the valve body out of it last week, because I only found 4. And if memory serves me correctly, and it doesn't always, but I think I recall there being 6. From the factory, there's 7, and it says in the ATS manual that I have that one of them isn't necessary, and you delete it during rebuild. So I believe there was 6, and I went online and did a little research, and depending on what kind of transmission you're building, you only need 2 for the transmission to work. I'm getting off point. I'll get to my point. I just might go through another zip code to get to it. The point I was trying to make is that I could only find 4 check balls. So I want to put 6 in here, but I live out in BFE, and usually I had this seal kit shipped to me, so I didn't have to. I could have gone down to O'Reilly's and ordered it, and they'd have had it the next day. But it's just more convenient to have it shipped to my door. Anyway, I don't have a week to wait for a couple of check balls, so I got to looking around in my garage, because I don't throw anything away hardly. If it has any kind of value at all, even if it's just scrap value, I keep it, and I'll pile it up. If it's scrap, I'll pile it up until I have enough to justify taking to the scrap yard. A little while back, This was my redneck fix. A while back, I had to replace the water pump in the Pontiac. And the water pump in the Pontiac is a cartridge type thing. There's a housing on the engine, and there's a water pump cartridge. You pull the cartridge off, and there's a stamped steel impeller that's mounted on a steel shaft that is mounted on a steel flange that the pulley mounts to. And then the housing is aluminum. Well, I just destroyed it, separated the aluminum housing from the steel shaft, which has a roller bearing and a ball bearing installed in it. Right? There's a roller bearing in here still, and there's a ball bearing, and that keeps the ball bearing keeps the thing locked in on the shaft. I'd really like to see how these are manufactured. You know, just anyway. Well, I had this thing laying around. I thought, and I took one of them check balls and I laid it on there, and I thought, you know, that's probably about the size. It's just 1/4 inch ball bearing. So I took out my grinder and I cut the race open so I could access the ball bearings, and I got out my micrometer, and sure enough, I'll be dipped in my own sauce. That ball bearing was the same size as a check ball. So I got 6 ball bearings to add to my 4 check balls. So I'm gonna get a little Ziploc baggie, and I'm gonna put them in a bag, and I'm gonna throw them in my little parts drawer on my toolbox. Oh, and look at that. The roller bearing just came out. I'll have to set that aside too. So that's the Suburban transmission, and this is the 3rd time I've had this this transmission on the stand. Every time I do something like this, I date the case, and last year April 23rd was when I rebuilt this thing last year, and then December 4th is when I tore the thing apart and put the planetary gear set in the back, and now I'll date it again for tomorrow. I'm going to put this thing back in the truck, and next time you see me, you'll know whether or not this transmission is staying or if it's going in the scrap pile. And 704 is going to go in here. But next video you'll see will be this in the truck, and we'll discover together whether or not this is going to stay or if it's going to go. So until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. I appreciate comments, so good and bad. So, and if any of the data that I spew is skewed or incorrect, please correct me. I don't want to perpetrate bad information. So, just saying. Okay, see you next time. Later. Bye.